Some people promise loyalty until loyalty becomes inconvenient. They say they care about you until caring costs them something. Watch what people do when it's no longer easy to be kind. That's when truth appears. They tell you they'll always be there for you until the day you truly need them. They preach honesty right before they lie straight to your face. They talk endlessly about how much they support your dreams, yet you catch that tiny spark of satisfaction. When life knocks you down, their words sound flawless, warm, sincere, like the kind of comfort you wish you could believe in. But their actions tell a completely different story, and it's not the loud betrayals that exhaust you. It's the quiet, steady inconsistency, the endless gap between what they say and what they do. Because their tone sounds so caring, you keep giving them chances. You keep believing this time will be different. You invest your trust, your time, your heart, until one day you wake up realizing years have slipped away on people who mastered performance, not authenticity. Their words were the mask. Their actions were the truth. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the real measure of a person isn't in their speech, but in their habits, what they choose to do when no one's watching. Epictetus reminded us that character is revealed slowly, through repeated choices, not poetic words or emotional displays. Today, we'll uncover 8 phrases inauthentic people often use, not because they're monsters, but because words are their favorite disguise. They use language to manage your perception while their actions quietly serve their own interests. Each of these phrases sounds kind, supportive, even loving. But once you learn to see the patterns behind them, the hesitations, the excuses, the timing, you'll spot the gap instantly. And once you see that gap, you can never unsee it. So if you're ready to develop true discernment, to see clearly without growing bitter, make sure to subscribe. Let's sharpen your awareness together. Now, let's begin. Phrase number 1. I'm always here for you. It sounds like unconditional support, like you found someone solid, dependable, the kind of friend who shows up when storms hit. It's one of the most comforting promises a person can make. A vow of presence, of not being alone, of having backup when life gets hard. But watch what happens when you actually need them. When showing up means real time, real effort, real sacrifice. Suddenly they're busy. They're dealing with something. Their support fades the moment it's no longer convenient. Because saying the words costs nothing. But keeping them, that costs everything. And that's when you discover if their loyalty was real or just performance. A woman I know once had a friend who repeated that line constantly. Every phone call ended the same way. You know I'm always here if you need anything. And for a while, it felt comforting, like a safety net that would catch her if life ever fell apart. Then her mother was diagnosed with a serious illness. Suddenly, she needed help. Rides to appointments, someone to sit beside her through sleepless nights, a listening ear when fear became too heavy. She called her friend. The friend was sympathetic on the phone, full of, "I wish I could," and "I'm just so swamped." But she never came. Not once. 3 months of chaos and exhaustion, and the person who promised to always be there didn't show up a single time. Meanwhile, someone else did. An acquaintance she barely knew. Someone who had never made any grand promises. Simply started showing up. Quietly. Consistently. Week after week. Drove her to appointments. Sat in waiting rooms. Didn't say much, just stayed. That's when she realized something profound. The people who talk the most about being there for you rarely are. And the ones who never say a word, they're usually the ones standing beside you when it matters most. Marcus Aurelius understood this well. He believed that if your honesty constantly wounds rather than helps, you're not being truthful. you're being self-serving. Real honesty seeks to build. Brutal honesty seeks to dominate. So whenever someone proudly claims to be brutally honest, Marcus would likely ask one simple question. Does this truth serve them or serve you? The answer to that question reveals everything, because someone who uses honesty as a weapon while conveniently excusing themselves from the same standard isn't authentic at all. They're not guided by virtue. They're hiding behind it. They've turned what should be a moral strength into a disguise for cruelty. So when you meet a person who loves announcing their brutal honesty, don't argue, don't defend, don't even explain. Just watch where their honesty is aimed. If it's never directed inward, if it only ever tears others down, leaving them smaller, quieter, ashamed, then what you're seeing isn't truth. It's cruelty wearing a mask of integrity. If you've ever dealt with someone like this, someone who used truth as an excuse to hurt you, but never used it to heal themselves, comment below. I see it now. Because recognizing this pattern doesn't mean you're too sensitive. It means you've finally seen weaponized honesty for what it really is. But now, let's move to the next phrase, one that sounds humble, yet secretly declares superiority. Phrase number 3. I'm not like other people. Or its twin version, most people are fake, but I'm real. This phrase is a bright red flag, precisely because truly authentic people never need to announce it. They don't say they're real, they simply are. They prove it through quiet consistency, through behavior that stays the same even when no one's watching. The person who keeps telling you how genuine they are is usually the one most desperate for validation. They've confused declaring values with living them. That endless repetition, I'm real, I'm different, I'm not like the others, isn't confidence. It's insecurity disguised as depth. It's the fear that you won't notice their authenticity unless they keep pointing it out. And once they make that announcement, watch what follows. They'll start positioning themselves as uniquely trustworthy, uniquely honest, uniquely above the crowd. But as they talk, their behavior quietly betrays them. They gossip about others being fake. They perform vulnerability to appear deep. They obsessively curate their image while claiming they don't care what people think. Soon, the gap between their words and their actions grows wider, a chasm they can no longer hide. I saw this pattern once in a woman who joined our volunteer group. At her very first meeting, she mentioned at least 3 times that she wasn't like most people. She said she valued real connections, that she was done with fake friendships. Everyone nodded. It sounded refreshing. Finally, someone honest and grounded. But as months went by, the reality unfolded. Every gathering became about her authentic journey. Every discussion somehow circled back to her unique insight, her perspective, her emotions. She shared deeply personal details with people she'd just met, and grew offended when they didn't open up at the same level. She kept a silent scorecard. Who was real enough? Who was fake? Who met her invisible standard for authenticity? In the end, people began to avoid her, not because they were insincere, but because her constant performance of authenticity was exhausting. She wasn't being real. She was performing realness. The truly authentic members of the group, the ones who showed up quietly, listened with empathy, contributed without needing attention, never once said they were different. They didn't announce their character. They lived it. Seneca once wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials." But he also taught something just as profound. True character reveals itself softly, through action, not loudly through declaration. Because when something is genuinely real, it doesn't need to shout. It simply shines. As Seneca reminded us, Those who are truly authentic never feel the need to announce it. The Stoics understood that when someone is secure in who they are, they don't advertise their authenticity. Seneca observed that constantly declaring one's virtues is often a sign of doubt, a quiet fear that those virtues aren't visible unless spoken aloud. So when a person keeps saying how real they are, how different they are from others, Seneca would gently point out, they're trying to convince themselves as much as they're trying to convince you. Authentic people don't perform authenticity. They simply live it, quietly, consistently, without the need for applause. Their reliability, their steadiness, their inner calm, those are their proof. Meanwhile, the ones who constantly need to separate themselves from the fake people are often caught in the most elaborate performance of all. So, trust consistency. Watch the patterns. Pay attention to the people whose words and actions stay aligned over time. And be cautious of those who spend more effort declaring their authenticity than demonstrating it. But now, let's move to a phrase that sounds supportive, yet is often completely hollow. Phrase number 4, you deserve better. At first, it sounds kind, encouraging, like something you'd hear from a friend who genuinely wants the best for you. You deserve better than that job. You deserve better than how they treat you. You deserve better than this situation. It feels validating, like someone truly sees your worth. But watch what happens next. What's missing is what matters most: action, no practical help, no real guidance, no step-by-step effort to help you get the better thing they say you deserve. All you receive is endless sympathy, emotional support that feels good but keeps you stuck in the same place. And that's exactly the point. Because as Epictetus would say, words without action are just decoration. This phrase, you deserve better, serves a subtle purpose. It makes them look like the one who truly understands your value while ensuring you remain dependent on their validation. They don't actually want you to improve your life. Because once you do, once you rise above your struggle, once you move beyond what's holding you back, you won't need them anymore, so they keep feeding you words instead of help, reassurance instead of results. Their praise becomes the leash that keeps you close. I once had a friend who lived this exact story. For 2 long years, she worked in a draining job, underpaid, underappreciated, clearly capable of much more. And there was one person in her life who, without fail, told her every week, "You deserve better than this." They sympathized constantly. They agreed the company didn't value her. They validated her frustration again and again. It felt comforting, having someone who seemed to get it. But when my friend asked for help updating her resume, that person was suddenly too busy. When she mentioned a job lead and asked for a referral, they quickly listed reasons why it wasn't the right time or didn't seem like a good fit. And when she finally got invited to interview somewhere new, this same person began to plant doubt. Are you sure the new company's really better? What if you regret leaving? Maybe you should wait a bit longer. 2 years of hearing, you deserve better. But every actual step toward better met quiet resistance. Finally, someone else, a coworker she barely knew, offered to help her prepare for interviews. She accepted, applied, and got an offer. Better pay, better position, better peace of mind. And when she shared the news, the person who'd spent years telling her she deserved more barely congratulated her. Within weeks, they drifted apart. That's when she realized the validation had never been about her success. It had been about their comfort. As long as she was struggling, they felt needed. But the moment she grew stronger, the dynamic no longer served them. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." He understood that those who truly want to help don't just describe what you deserve. They help you reach it. They don't just talk about your potential, they invest in it. So the next time someone keeps saying, "You deserve better," but never lifts a finger to help you move forward, remember, their words aren't support. They're a script designed to make you dependent on their approval, not your own growth. The Stoics clearly understood the difference between sympathy that empowers and sympathy that imprisons. One lifts you up and points you toward growth. The other needs your pain to keep the connection alive. It feels caring, but underneath it depends on your struggle to sustain the bond. Real support helps you climb. False support just holds your ladder, praising how high you could go while quietly making sure you never actually do. So value the people who help you build, not the ones who only echo your complaints. If someone keeps telling you what you deserve, yet never helps you move closer to it, their investment isn't in your success, it's in your struggle. If these lessons are helping you recognize the gap between people's comforting words and their actual behavior, make sure to subscribe for more Stoic wisdom about discernment and emotional clarity. And if this awareness has helped you protect your energy from inauthentic people, share it so others can learn to spot these patterns too. Now, let's move to a phrase that sounds harmless, even self-aware, but in truth, it's a shield against accountability. Phrase number 5. That's just how I am. Or its cousin. I can't change who I am. Have you ever noticed how quickly this phrase appears after someone hurts you? It never comes before the damage, only after. Because this isn't a statement of self-acceptance. It's a refusal to take responsibility. When someone says this, what they're really communicating is, my behavior isn't up for discussion. You have to accept the harm as part of accepting me. They've turned their hurtful habits into a fixed part of their identity, something supposedly unchangeable. So you can't challenge it without being accused of rejecting them. It's a clever form of manipulation. By framing cruelty as personality, they transform your legitimate boundaries into criticism. But here's what's fascinating. Their inability to change is always selective. The same person who can't help being rude or dismissive around you can suddenly adjust their tone in front of their boss. They can speak politely to clients, act patient with their parents, or behave charmingly around people they want to impress. So clearly the issue isn't inability, it's priority. When they say, that's just how I am, what they're really saying is, I could change for you, but I won't. You're not worth the effort. And I'll call it authenticity so you can't question it without seeming controlling. My cousin lived through this exact story. Her husband had a pattern of dismissive remarks, small cruelties that seemed insignificant alone, but over time eroded her spirit. When she brought it up, he'd say he was just being direct. That's how my family talks, he'd insist. I can't change my personality, but she noticed something curious. He never spoke that way to his boss, never used that tone with his parents. Somehow with them he found endless patience, calmness, and self-control. The I can't change rule applied only to her. After years of exhaustion, she finally saw the truth. He could control it. He just didn't think he needed to. Not for her. The phrase wasn't about who he was. It was about what she was worth to him. She was so low on his list of priorities that changing his behavior simply wasn't worth the effort. And when she finally left, suddenly he could change. Suddenly, he was capable of every act of kindness she had begged for years earlier. But by then it was too late. Because the message was already clear. He could have changed all along. He just hadn't valued her enough to try until it cost him the relationship. Marcus Aurelius spent his entire life practicing self-examination. He wrote daily about his own flaws, his temper, his choices, about becoming a better man today than he was yesterday. To him, the idea that one's character was fixed or unchangeable would have been absurd. Marcus understood a truth that still applies today. I can't change almost always means I won't change. So when someone tells you that their harmful behavior is just who they are, Marcus would recognize it instantly. He'd see it for what it really is. Not honesty, not acceptance, but avoidance disguised as authenticity. When someone says, "That's just how I am," remember, it's not fate. It's a choice disguised as inevitability. The Stoics believed that growth is the very purpose of life. To refuse to grow and then claim that your refusal is just being authentic isn't wisdom. It's ego hiding from accountability. So when someone hurts you and follows it with, "That's just how I am," hear what they're really saying. I'm not willing to change. And I'm making it your responsibility. Either you accept the harm or you leave. Don't waste your time trying to convince them to care. They've already shown you where their priorities lie. Believe them the first time. Now, let's look at another phrase. One that wears a smile but hides something sharp beneath it. Phrase number 6. I'm happy for you. Or more accurately, I'm happy for you. When they're clearly not. You've probably felt this before. Someone says, "I'm so proud of you." Congratulations. But their eyes tell a different story. Their tone falls flat. The smile never quite reaches their face. And before you can even reply, they've already changed the subject, maybe to their own problems, their own achievements, or how lucky you were. The words sound perfect, even polished. But something feels off. The energy doesn't match. The enthusiasm feels mechanical, and your instincts whisper they're not happy for you. They're threatened by you. Because body language doesn't lie the way words do. The posture, the hesitation, the quick subject change, those are the cracks where the truth slips out. Underneath their polite congratulations, there's often a quiet resentment, a discomfort that your success has thrown light on something they haven't achieved. Your growth has accidentally reminded them of their stagnation. What makes this kind of dishonesty so toxic is that you can't call it out. If you say, "That didn't feel genuine," you risk sounding paranoid, insecure, or ungrateful. They said the right words, and so how could you possibly question their sincerity? So instead, you silence your intuition. You nod, you smile, and you tell yourself you're overreacting. But that small, sinking feeling remains, because deep down, you know. Your instincts caught what their words tried to hide. I once heard about 2 colleagues who were promoted in the same week. One of them made a grand public announcement in the team meeting about the other's success. All smiles, all praise, every word perfectly crafted. But those who knew her well noticed something odd. She had never once mentioned the promotion to her colleague privately. Not a single congratulatory message before that public display. It was all for show. In the weeks that followed, she made general comments during coffee breaks. How promotions at their company were mostly political. How timing mattered more than talent. How luck sometimes played a bigger role than merit. She never said it directly to the promoted colleague, but everyone knew who she was talking about. Her praise had been performative. Her envy was genuine. The colleague who got promoted felt uneasy, but couldn't point to any one moment that proved it. The words had been flawless, but everything else, her tone, her timing, her actions, told a completely different story. Marcus Aurelius practiced reading people beyond their words. He wrote about watching not what people say, but the energy behind it, the actions that follow. Because genuine joy for another person's success can only come from a secure and peaceful heart. When someone resents your achievements, it's never truly about you. It's about their relationship with their own unrealized potential. The Stoics taught that envy is insecurity revealed in motion. A person who's content with their own journey never feels smaller because someone else is rising. They see success as proof that growth is possible for everyone. So, when someone congratulates you but everything else, their tone, their energy, their silence, tells you another story. Remember this Stoic truth. Trust the whole message, not just the words. Because people reveal their character most clearly through the one thing they can't control, their energy when the spotlight isn't on them. When someone congratulates you, it's not just their words that matter, it's everything that comes after. Their body language, their tone. Whether they ever bring it up again or act as if it never happened. Pay attention to the gap between what people say and what their energy communicates. If someone's "I'm so happy for you" feels hollow, trust that feeling more than their carefully chosen words. Your intuition is wiser than you think. It senses what logic tries to dismiss. And if you're learning to trust that gap, to believe your instincts over appearances, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom on how to read what people don't say. Now, let's move to something much darker as a phrase that doesn't just hide the truth, but tries to rewrite it while you're still standing in it. Phrase number 7. I would never do that to you. And yet, they just did. I learned this one the hard way. Someone once crossed a very clear boundary, then immediately said, I would never do that to you. I remember standing there in disbelief. They had done exactly that, yet their words came out calm, certain, almost offended by the accusation. That's when I realized what this really is, gaslighting in its purest form. Not subtle manipulation, not confusion or misunderstanding, just a bold, unapologetic contradiction of observable reality. You saw what happened. You felt the impact. And now they're standing in front of you, looking you straight in the eye, claiming it never happened. The audacity isn't a mistake. It's the method. Because if they can get you to doubt what you just witnessed, they can control your perception of everything that follows. Here's why this phrase is so powerful and dangerous. It forces you into an impossible choice. Do you trust your own experience or do you protect the relationship? Because if you insist on what you saw, you're calling them a liar. That creates conflict. And most people, especially the kind, peace-loving ones, will do anything to avoid confrontation. So they soften their stance. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it wasn't that serious. Maybe I'm overreacting. But you're not. The person saying, I would never, is counting on that exact reaction. They're betting that your need for harmony will outweigh your need for truth. They know you'll start doubting yourself. Long before you ever doubt them, I once watched this. Dynamic destroy a friendship. A woman had confided something deeply personal to her friend. Something she trusted would stay between them. Weeks later, she found out the private story had been repeated. She confronted her friend calmly, expecting at least honesty. But instead of acknowledging it, the friend looked shocked, even hurt. I would never share what you told me. You know me better than that. Except, there was proof. The information had clearly come from her. Both of them knew it. Yet she kept denying, voice trembling with righteous indignation, acting as if she were the one being wronged. The betrayed friend now faced two painful options. Press the issue and end the friendship in conflict. Or let it go, pretend it didn't happen and carry the weight silently. She chose peace, or what looked like peace. The friendship continued in form, but it died in substance. What ended it wasn't the betrayal itself. It was the refusal to acknowledge it. Because when someone lies about what you both know to be true, they're saying something even more chilling than, I betrayed you. They're saying, I will look you in the eye, deny the truth you witnessed, and force you to choose your reality or our relationship. Seneca wrote about the importance of living in truth, even when truth feels uncomfortable. He taught that denying reality doesn't erase it. It only corrupts your relationship with it. When someone does something harmful and then insists, "I would never do such a thing," Seneca would have recognized it instantly. An attempt to control your perception of reality itself. The Stoics understood that words which contradict observable actions are more dangerous than the actions themselves. Actions can be mistakes, but denying those actions, standing calmly in their aftermath and pretending they never happened, that's a conscious choice to protect one's ego at the cost of truth, of integrity, and of another person's trust. When someone insists, "I would never do that to you," after you've just seen them do it, stop arguing. You saw it. You know what happened. That's enough. Their denial already tells you everything you need to know about whether they can be trusted with truth. You don't need another debate, just awareness. And now we come to the final phrase, the one people use when they know, deep down, that their behavior hasn't earned your faith. Phrase number 8, "Trust me," said with confidence, said with urgency, but spoken without ever earning it. The first time you hear someone say, "Trust me," you might give them the benefit of the doubt. The second time, you begin to notice the pattern. And by the third time, it's clear. "Trust me" is what people say when they know their actions don't deserve trust. Because real trust doesn't need to be demanded. It doesn't shout or plead. It builds, quietly, patiently, through consistency. You trust someone because they've shown up again and again. Because they kept their word when it cost them something. Because they acted with integrity even when no one was watching. That kind of trust doesn't need to be announced. It's built action by action, choice by choice. So when someone says, "Trust me," pay attention. They're trying to shortcut a process that can't be rushed. They're asking you to give what they haven't earned. Notice when this phrase tends to appear. It's almost always after you've expressed doubt. Doubt that came from experience. They've broken promises before. They've been unreliable. You've caught them in lies or half-truths. And now when you hesitate, instead of addressing the reasons behind your hesitation, they say, "Trust me," as if those two words could erase every inconsistency. As if your doubt is the problem rather than the behavior that caused it. My brother once learned this lesson in business. He had a partner who constantly pitched big ideas, grand visions that always needed his money, his credibility, but never came with clear details. Every time my brother asked for a plan, projections, or specifics, the partner grew defensive. "Don't you trust me? We're partners. If you don't trust me, this won't work." But trust wasn't the issue. Due diligence was. My brother's hesitation came from specific red flags. Missing data, vague timelines, overpromises. Instead of addressing those concerns, his partner reframed the issue, as if asking for clarity was an act of betrayal. That's when my brother realized something powerful. People who have earned trust don't fear questions. They welcome them. They're calm under scrutiny because they have nothing to hide. But the ones who react defensively, the ones who pull out "Trust me" the moment you ask for proof, are often the ones whose plans can't survive a closer. Look, his partner didn't want trust. He wanted blind faith. And when blind faith wasn't given, the partnership crumbled, revealing what it had really been all along. An illusion of trust built on pressure, not proof. Epictetus wrote that trust is demonstrated through action over time, not demanded through words in the moment. He understood that rushed trust always benefits the one demanding it. Because if they can make you believe quickly, they don't have to prove anything slowly. When someone asks you to trust them without showing you why they deserve it, Epictetus would say they're prioritizing their goal over your discernment. They're not seeking partnership. They're seeking control. The Stoics taught that trust is a gift earned through consistency. Anyone who demands it on command has misunderstood its nature. So watch closely. Notice who quietly earns your trust through reliability and who loudly demands it through words. That difference tells you everything you need to know about whether your trust, if given, will be honored or exploited. True trust is built over time. It can't be manufactured with a phrase. So when someone asks for trust they haven't earned, remember, you're not being difficult, you're being wise. These 8 phrases aren't instant proof that someone's fake or manipulative. Context matters, patterns matter. Anyone can say these words occasionally and mean them sincerely. What you're looking for is the pattern, the ongoing gap between what people say and what they consistently do. The Stoics never taught cynicism. They taught discernment. Marcus Aurelius observed people carefully, but never assumed everyone was deceitful. He simply trusted actions more than words, and consistency more than promises. That's the balance we should seek. You don't need to interrogate every person who says these phrases. Just observe. When someone says, "I'm always here for you," watch if they show up when it's inconvenient. When someone says, "Trust me," notice whether their behavior actually deserves it. When words and actions align consistently, you've found someone worth your trust and energy. When they don't, you've learned something valuable without ever needing a fight. If these 8 phrases have helped you see the patterns between words and behavior, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom on navigating relationships with clarity and calm. And if this gave you insight worth keeping, like this video, so others can learn to recognize these patterns too. The Stoics were never paranoid. They were observant. And that's what you should be too. Trusting, yet discerning. Watch what people do. Believe that over what they say. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay stoic, stay observant, stay wise.